Remember what I told you? Don't look. Just one. Just one. A-L-L. Give it to her. Give it to her. Okay, whoever.
Lenny Tiemann.
Vincent.
Jim Walker.
Oh, no!
I told you, give me, I give here's the ticket, give me my.
I know.
Pay off. Don't do that in public. Drew, Barry, come on over here so we can get started. Get a seat, you guys. Jim, Noah, get a seat. Come on. Sit right here. We get going.
In the back door, I gotta go pick up roads.
Drew, come on, sit down. Let's get this thing going. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lenny Tiemann.
Oh, really?
We're so happy to have everybody here tonight. You know, Vic Christmas tournament has been now 5 years. And I got to tell you, the champions here we have, the handball is just fantastic. The match has been great today. We've got some great national champions here, and we're very happy how the tournament is progressing. First of all, I want to welcome all the players, because they're the ones that make this tournament. I want to thank them for, you know, being supportive of the tournament, helping out, and, you know, it means a lot to us. And, you know, one thing here at the Vic Hershkowitz is the committee, we try to do the very, very best job. So everybody comes here and enjoys himself and has a great time. We want everybody, you know, to eat well and have fun and just, you know, have a great weekend here. And we're very happy because you're the ones that make the tournament very successful. I want to start thanking people. Risa Spivak, you know, she's the lady that helps us with the tournament. She does a fantastic job. You know, she has to deal with a lot of problems, and thank God she doesn't have to deal with me anymore. But no, she does a great job, and we just want to thank her. A few years ago, we got a new director here. It's the greatest thing that happened to this Jewish Center. My friend Scott Ehrlich, he's constantly making improvements here. You know, he spent a lot of money this year for us wiring the courts. He's behind us 100%. And he's just a great guy, and he does a great job at the Jewish Center. Let's give him a big hand. Next, I want to talk about how this tournament got started. You know, I came here one night to play handball, and Doc Mandel says, we're going to see Vic at the hospital tonight. I said, okay, I'll go. So we went to see Vic, and he had all the respiratory stuff on. He couldn't talk, so I said, Vic, I said, you'd be proud of me tonight. I threw a lot of hooks, and he wiggled his toes. That's all he could do. You know, and just to let us know that he hurt us. You know, when we left the hospital, Doc says, look, you know, the only thing he wants is a tournament in his name. He says, will you help me? And I said, yeah, I'll help him. It was an opportunity for me, excuse me. I never ran a handball tournament before, but it was an opportunity for me to be able to run a tournament in such a great champion's name. And this is what it's turned out to be now. And we're just very happy. Next, I want to thank Mo Klompus, my buddy for 25 years. This tournament wouldn't be able to be run without him. He does just a fantastic job. I mean, nobody sees what he does. He does a tremendous job on many different things. You know, all I really do is deal with the players and, you know, stuff like that, and try to get them here and do the promoting. But Mo does a fantastic job for us, and let's give him a big hand. And then next, the 13-time national champion, Mike Meltzer, now part of this committee. You know, he's fantastic. When we have questions, he's got answers, and they're always the right ones. And, you know, he just does a fantastic job, and we're very, very happy to have him. I want to thank Milt's girlfriend, Jerry, and Mike's wife, you know, and Jen Herskowitz, and everybody else who volunteered here today. It's very important, and because we need a lot of help here, and you guys are all, we appreciate it. Vic Herskowitz was the only one ever to win the Triple Crown. He won the 1 wall, the 3 wall, and the 4 wall all in 1 year. Because nobody ever has done it before. And, you know, he's just a special guy on and off the court. And, you know, we're happy to have a foundation in his name. And, you know, if you haven't given to the foundation, just give us a small check, you know, because it goes to a good cause, helping these autistic kids and these special needs kids that go to camp here, and we've done very well, and we're just trying to, you know, keep doing well every year and help these kids. You know, in the springtime, we've got the Miami Dolphins behind us now, and they're going to spend a day with these autistic and special needs kids, and we're going to raise more money. So whatever you can do, we appreciate it. This year, you know, Murray Marcus passed away. He was a friend of mine for 40 years. He was a 9-time national champion. There'll never be another Murray Marcus. He was just a special guy, and this year we did a tribute to him on back of the t-shirt, as you all know. And we wanted to have his wife here and his son, but they couldn't make it because they've got some illness in the family. But Freddie Lewis is going to talk about Murray Marcus later in the days of Flamingo Park, but he's going to talk about that later. Next we're going to start off with our first award. Eric Klarman is flown in town to receive the Ken Ginty Award. You know, me and Eric have something special in common. We were both very, very close to Ken Ginty, you know, very close. And he was a special guy. He was one of the top 15 3-wall players of all time. And so was Eric Klarman. Eric Klarman was a great 3-wall player. In 1987, he won with Ken Ginty in Toledo. In the semis, these are tough matches. In the semis, he beat Vince Munoz and Richard Lopez. And then in the finals, they played Vern Roberts and John Candler and beat them, you know, and they won the world title. In 1993, Eric came back to play with David Chapman. They beat John Byte and Dave Doman. And also that year, Eric played singles and he beat Munoz in the finals. They slammed the tournament. In 1994, he came back with Chapman and won it again. He's a 5-time national champion. He's one of the great handball players of all time. Eric retired at 33 because of some injuries, and he didn't want to play under those conditions. So, Eric, come on up, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Klarman.
Say a few words. I guess I had a lot of blessings in my life. Two of the biggest ones were growing up in a place called Castle Hill for a lot of reasons, and the other big one was knowing Ken. It's tough for me to talk about Ken. He really was the closest thing I had to an older brother. In high school and college, I would go down and on spring break when he lived here, and I would hang out with him near Daytona, play handball, hit the beach, and he was just an amazing guy to know as a teenager growing up. He taught me a lot of good, a lot of bad, and I was able to figure most of it out for myself. But I'll say this, in '87 when we did win. In '86, me and John Bike lost in the finals to Vince Munoz and Richard Lopez, and back then they were awesome. So I had the wisdom to not play with Bike the next year, and to pick up my friend Kenny. So I played with Kenny the next year, and Kenny was a machine. Kenny I played the right, I would have to say, Kenny thoroughly dominated that whole tournament. We beat Munoz and Lopez 2 straight, and it was Kenny. He was just amazing. And the finals, we went to a tough Vern Roberts, John Kendler team, and, Kenny was just awesome. The only other thing I want to say about Kenny is most of us know him really well. Most of you know him a hell of a lot longer than I've been living. And we all know the fighter he was. You know how he passed. And, I saw him a lot. Get in there. I saw him a lot in the hospital, in the hospice right before he passed. And 3 days before he passed, he was, for those of you who didn't know, he passed of cancer. And he was so doped up that last week when he would speak. I saw him 3 days before he passed. And whenever he spoke, it was just gibberish. I mean, you just couldn't tell what he was saying, but he was talking. And he was just incredibly drugged up. Me and my girlfriend at the time wheeled him out to the courtyard outside, and he was a complete bone, and the freaking guy was trying to escape. he was telling me, I couldn't understand it, but I wanted to get up and get out of here. And 3 days later, he did get out of there the wrong way. But he was a fighter, and this award, I'm glad you remembered. The other 2 minutes I'll spend thanking my Castle Hill family. As a 14-year-old, there were 3 guys in this room who shook guys down in the Bronx for money to send me to Toledo. I think Habakkuk was what we would call the enforcer. I remember that. These 60-year-olds sitting underneath the trees at Castle Hill didn't have a chance. Like I say, it was a blessing to grow up at the pool, and it was just an amazing experience. When I grew up, the true only open player there. It's funny we talk about my 3-wall. It's almost embarrassing for me to talk about 3-wall with Louis in the room, because Louis was one of the best 3-wall players ever. And actually, a lot of people played with me back then, but really I got good from playing with him as a teenager. So that's it. I've been blessed for a lot of reasons. One quick, no, it's not embarrassing. Don't worry about it. No, I just forgot. One summer at the pool, back then I was very good friends with John Bite. We were teenagers and we could hit the ball. We were good. And I'll never forget one summer on the big court, Kenny brought up his friend Sabo, who was a stud on the Pro Tour. And on the big court, Sabo played me and Bite early in the summer. And me and John killed him. Later in the summer, same exact scenario, we played Louis, and it was a beating, the completely opposite way. Completely opposite way. And me and John were pretty good, but you nailed us. You nailed us.
Thanks, Eric.
That was so nice, Eric.
One thing I want to say, we do appreciate having Lou Russo here. Lou Russo is the only handball player that ever won the doubles, the Triple Crown. He won the 3-wall, the 1-wall, and the 4-wall in 1 year. He's one of the great handball players of all time. And he's the only player in 3-wall that ever was able to beat Nadia Alvarado. Lou Russo. I want to congratulate Dennis Effer. He's going into the Hall of Fame at the New York State at the Fishkill tournament, so let's give him a big hand. Congratulations. Okay, next we're going to bring up Mike Meltzer. He's going to give out the Hall of Fame awards now to Allison Roberts and Keith Thode.
No, it's not. Before I get started, Jim Walker, who just won $300, donated $100 back to the foundation. And later, he said he'll give us the other $200.
Mike, talk into the mic.
Can you hear me? Yeah. You're my wife. Tell me what to do. First, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the Hershowitz 5th Annual Douglas Tournament. Special thanks to Jenny Hershowitz, Jenny, for keeping Dick's memory alive with her devoted time and effort. I also would like to thank Risa, I think she's probably working outside, who was our liaison with the JCC, and Scott, the executive director, who helped us put the speakers and the microphones, and they redid the floors about a week before the tournament, but it was great. Also, I'd like to thank Milt Pompous. I say Milt was the mainstay of this committee. He did everything. Also, Lemmy Tiemann for his tireless energy in coordinating and trying to get as much money from people as possible. And he's very good at it. Also, I'd like to thank Jerry, Milt's better half. Worked very hard. And my wife for volunteering, especially with the 50-50.
Yeah.
Special thanks for Fred Lewis for coming in from Tucson and supposed to give a lunch and learn, but I think because we had so many matches, it may not have gone off. But Monday? Monday? Okay, Fred said Monday, so I expect everyone to be here. Anyway, when Fred does the lunch and learn, it helps all of us improve our game. Fred, as you know, was one of the greatest handball players ever. Let's hear it for Fred. Now, many of us look forward to receiving our USH handball magazine. Unlike Playboy magazine, we'd really like to look at the pictures as well as read the articles.
Good gesture.
Our first inductee, Keith Thode, who's the official photographer for the USHA. I told Keith to bring his camera so he could take a picture of himself receiving this award.
Hey, Keith!
We have Keith to thank for all of the fabulous pictures taken at the 1, 3, and 4 World Nationals. I have the privilege of rooming with Keith at many of these tournaments. I have put up with his snoring, as well as many other sound effects over the years. Anyway, here's some background history so that you may get to know Keith a little bit better. Keith has volunteered since 1997. He has taken photos in many instances and put the photos on DVDs and sent these DVDs to players all over the country. He has done this at his own expense. Many of the cover photos on the magazine were taken by him. One in particular you may remember, I believe it was last year after the One World Nationals, Pee Wee Uber Castro flying through the air horizontally, hitting a kill shot to win his One World National Championship. I think that was one of the greatest pictures ever. Now, the real reason Keith decided to take pictures was because he didn't like the referees. However, after my experience with Keith refereeing one of my matches, I can attest he's definitely the best referee I ever had. He didn't know how to call it blocks. Now, while we room together, as usual, I fall asleep early, and he spends many hours into the night coordinating the day's photos, as well as spending time when he gets home to the Detroit area. Photography has been his hobby since he was 12. He has had many cameras over the years and has learned a lot. However, he had never photographed handball action before. Once he started volunteering and knowing about cameras, What really helped him get a better action shot was sitting down with Vern Roberts, and he taught him to look for certain situations that he would have never considered. You can see Vern's influence in many of Keith's shots. Don't worry, one more page left. I would also like to mention that Keith is the recipient of the prestigious Cole Porter Award, which is given to people who volunteer on the national level. His award is posted in the Hall of Fame on the ushandball.org website. And Jenny, would you come up here, please? I would now like to bring Keith up to be inducted into the Vic Hershkowitz Legends Hall of Fame. How about a nice round of applause for take his own pictures.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm almost in there, good.
Listen, if I have your speech, I'm taking it away.
I have a speech, really? Sure. I'm not sure it comes off my hand. That's the reason I take pictures. I put it on my hand and I forgot to figure out how to take it off. Glasses, First, I'd like to take the opportunity to explain that anything you may have heard, any rumors regarding Allison and I, are absolutely true.
Allison.
Likewise, any rumors you may have heard regarding Mike Meltzer and I are absolutely true.
What diseases must I have?
For years, Mike has been trying to get me to come down here to this tournament, stay with he and Jen. Very generous offer. I just never took him up on it. Until this year, he said they were insisting they wanted to honor me at this thing and enter me on the wall over there for all the photos that I never took at this tournament since I've never been here. So for those of you who are wondering, as I am, what I'm doing here, I suppose it's for what I do elsewhere. And that is, I take photos, some video as well, the 1-wall, 3-wall, 4-wall nationals, the Simple Green U.S. Open, the 3-wall tournament Lagrange is kind of a local thing, but big deal. I sometimes shoot the 4-wall juniors and the worlds also. 14 years ago, it occurred to me that except for a few shots in the magazine, no one was recording the photos and videos, anything, what these great players like Eric Klarman and Louis Russo and Fred Lewis were doing. I thought, this is a shame. Somebody should do this. I thought, well, okay, I'll do it. And that was my downfall there. I started out shooting about 300 photos with film, and then we all switched to digital about 2003 or so. So now I do about 3,000 shots and go home and work my butt off on the computer with them. And I can't figure out how to get out of this. So like Meltzer was saying, and he was pretty accurate with it, yeah, I organize them all. I got to work on every photo and put them on a DVD and send them out to the magazine and to about 100 people at every tournament. So also back in the late 60s, I shot a few, about 3 years there, but not a whole lot of stuff. And unfortunately, the one I started was the year after Vic's last year. So I didn't get any pictures of Vic, and that's my loss too there. I never saw Vic in his prime. I'm from Detroit. I never saw 1-wall. I just didn't hang around handball until I was 22 years old. That was 1965. Didn't know a lot of these guys. But I never saw Vic in his prime, and that's very much my loss. I wish I had. I do have some film of him, and it left me wanting to see more, and there's not a lot out there. So thanks for, in some small convoluted way, tying my name to his.
Okay, the next inductee is Allison Roberts. How about a nice round? As many of you know, Allison comes from the #1 Roberts family. Brothers Jack, Chris, and Vern, and sister Jenny are all national title holders. It's pretty good for one family. Now, growing up with the family members in Cincinnati, Ohio, was an extremely competitive adventure. Whenever the family would choose up teams for any sporting event, Allie was the first one picked. And according to Jenny, choosing Allie was never a macho concession, but because she gave you the best chance of winning. When Allie was 12, the city of Cincinnati had a free throw competition. A few hundred boys and one other girl showed up. The gym had 6 baskets. The competitors went through 4 rotations, taking 24 shots. After the first round, 6 shooters had made 22 of 24, 5 boys and Allie. So much for women's lib. Most of the boys were a year older. In the second round, Allie made 20 of 24 shots and ended up in 3rd place. Let's hear that. Allie. Allie's athletic prowess can be noted in her success when competing against men, either in a free throw contest or especially in handball, softball, and basketball. Now, wasn't there a tournament in Daytona that you and Vern beat Lenny and
Lenny and Gino?
Gino.
Gino, wow.
Neither one of you lost to a girl.
When I get up, I'll explain.
Now, until Jenny came along, Allie was the baby, and she knew how to fend off her older brothers. Vern states, if we came near her, she would warn us, and then if we touched her, she would yell to Mom that he hit me as hard as he could. She faked some tears, and the assailant would get a solid spanking.
Survival.
Besides Vern, there was no smoother swing you could witness. Many men have been awe of a savvy shot and determination. No one wants to lose to a woman, but there have been many. Raise your hand if you lost to Allie. Lenny.
Where's Gino?
She never beat me.
Allie is known as a wonderful daughter, mom, grandma, sister, and Bubby.
That's her.
Who called you Bubby?
Jenny, her buddies.
As well as being a great athlete, Allison is also very intelligent. She has a doctorate in economics, teaches on the college level, and next year she's going to help Lenny with the accounting of this tournament. Vern would have been here, however, he had to stay in Tucson, from what I understand, to prepare for the board of directors meeting. Here are Allie's various titles. Now, sit tight. She played in her first tournament at age 11, won her first national title at 16, won a total of 25 national titles between 1980 and 2005. She won the 4 World Junior Singles, 3 Collegiate Singles, 4 4-World Doubles, 7 3-World Singles, and 7 3-World Doubles. I'm not done. She appeared in Sports Illustrated, and if I recall, Eric, where's Eric?
Right here.
Eric also was in Sports Illustrated and Faces in the Crowd, 1983. And what year were you?
I didn't forgot that time, and thank you, Bill Kennedy, for that.
And also, she received the Women's Sports Foundation Amateur Athlete of the Year in 1984. Eric did not get that one. She won 4 World Championships and slammed in the 35 singles and doubles champ in 2000 and 2009. That's quite a spread, 9 years. Jenny, come on up. Jenny and Allie, come on up. It is my honor to induct Allison Roberts with the Vic Hershkowitz Legend of Handball Hall of Fame Award. How about a nice round?
professor, so I like to have an audience. Gosh, the reason I was in Faces in the Crowd in Sports Illustrated was because in 1983, my brother Chris, as a senior in college, won the National Collegiate Championship in singles, and as a sophomore, I won the women's singles. And so that was pretty cool that the two of us did that. We won the men's and the women's singles championship, as brother and sister. I owe everything to my dad. God bless you, Dad. A little kid growing up, I was the seventh of the eight in my family. And I came right after the four boys, so I am a survivor. My parents did not finish the 10th grade. So you can imagine what a struggle it was financially to raise 8 children through the 60s and 70s and 80s. And 7 of the 8 of us went to college, and 4 of us have graduate degrees. Probably the main reason why we are all as successful as we are in what we do in our lives outside of handball is because of him. The number of doors that it opened for each of us are tremendous. My brother Jack, there's no way in the world he would have gone to Harvard Law School if it hadn't been for handball. And it's just because, and kind of ironically, we had this old station wagon, an old Ford LTD station wagon that had the little seats in the back that actually could fit our whole family. And I'll never forget, I was probably, I guess, 8 or 9 years old, and we were pulling into Miami, driving all the way from Cincinnati, so we had to be pretty crusty. My dad did not stop, we couldn't afford a hotel room. And I'll never forget, Mike Dow was walking with his handball bag, and you can always spot a handball player because they have their wet handball gloves hanging off the side of their handball bag on the outside to dry. And Mike Dow was walking along, and my dad just yelled out the window, "You must be going to the handball tournament." The national juniors were in Miami that year. And so my dad told him where to go because he questioned, and when we parked, he actually came up to the car and introduced himself to my father. And for those of you that don't know, 5 Robertses are graduates of Lake Forest College, where Mike Dow was the handball coach, still to this day in his 70s. He took an interest in us that day, despite how poor we all looked. He got to meet all of us coming out of the car, and he made a commitment to come and watch my brothers play handball. And the first time he saw Vern at the time was 17. He saw Vern play handball, and the next thing I knew, he was having him come to Lake Forest to visit the college and to talk to him about getting a college education. What a tremendous thing. Jack followed 3 years later, then Chris 4 years after that, and then myself 2 years after that, and Jenny 4 years after me. So that was one of Mike Dow's great accomplishments in his mind, was to get all 5 of us to go there. We all played handball for him, and we all owe a lot because we all got a great education there. And I, of course, got to go on to graduate school and get my master's and PhD in economics. I am now a college professor. I love my job. I love my life. I love my daughter and my grandson. And I love handball because you guys are my extended family. And even though I live in Florida without any other of my brothers and sisters, I kind of consider all of you my extended family. So I appreciate all of you. Certainly appreciate this award. I'm very honored to be on that wall with such amazing players. And I guess I'm done because Lenny's standing up. He's probably afraid that I'm going to give you the details of the match when I read All I want to say...
Hold on. Let me tell you. We're at Ormond Beach, playing 3-ball, and the poor Gino's got to play 4 matches. Now, Roberts comes on with no matches at all. I said, "Gino, we're in trouble." What happened? We lost.
I want you to know that when I walked in, I had never met Gino before. Where is he? He's hiding. He's hiding. Gino came up to me, and I had never met him before, and he said, "I just want you to know I have never lost to a girl before." I'm like, who is this guy, and why is he telling me this? All I know is 24 hours later, he couldn't say that anymore.
Now, talk about my friend for 40 years, the great Freddie Lewis. I looked up to all my life. When I came to Florida, I wound up living in his parents' house, and like I said, his relationship started 40 years ago, and today it's still a great relationship, and he's a special person to me. Everybody knows that Freddie Lewis was the great handball player, 6-time national champion, the 3-time national champion in 3-ball, and many, many other victories, and #1 on the Pro Tour. But people don't realize what Freddie's done for the youth in Tucson. You know, he's taken these kids and given them an opportunity, and he spends a lot of time and a lot of money, and he's helped these kids over the years and gave them handball in a life that they would really never have an opportunity. You know, he takes them to tournaments all the time, he lodges them, he feeds them, and he's a tremendous role model, and I just want to thank my friend Freddie Lewis for what he does. Freddie's going to come up and speak. He's going to talk about the days of Flamingo Park and talk about Murray Marcus. One thing before he talks, I just want everybody to know tomorrow's going to be a great day of handball again. We're going to have the finals. There's going to be a lot of great matches, so we just want everybody to please come out and watch the finals. And here's Freddie Lewis.
Well, you know, I lost today, so I do have somebody to thank right now. I played. I want to thank Chuck Mandel for supplying me with narcotics. It allows me to walk, and you know, I think I've been here 4 out of the 5 years that you've had the tournament, and you know, as Lenny said, known him a long time, and because of Lenny, you know, he keeps me informed about what's going on here in South Florida. So, you know, it's been, you know, the last couple of months I've really looked forward to coming out this year, because he was telling me, you know, the people that were going to be here, my good friend Lou, and by the way, despite all the rumors, Lou and I never took steroids when we were talking. Yeah. Speak for yourself, Fred. But, you know, there's a lot of good memories. Some sad things happened this year, and I just thought it was important to, you know, to mention a few people. A lot of us grew up playing in Flamingo Park down in Miami Beach. Flamingo Park for years was kind of an iconic place where a lot of great handball players congregated. It was a very charismatic place. A lot of characters played there. We had, you know, guys with names like Powerhouse Abe, Red Pickles, and Billy Golden Hands Haas. And, you know, one player who left us this year was Freddie Coran, and he was the self-proclaimed greatest. That's, you know, that was the name that he went by. And, you know, those of you who knew Freddie, you know, he lived across the street from the park where he ran a very small telemarketing operation. And, you know, every day about 1 o'clock or so, Freddie come running across the street to the park, and all the retired old guys, you know, that congregated under the tree, they'd all run over to the courts because they knew that there was going to be action. And, you know, Freddie was a real outgoing type of guy. You know, he played a lot of fun matches, so to speak. You know, playing with a chair in one hand, you know, things like that. First out-of-town tournament I went to, I played doubles with Freddie, and you know, he's just, you know, one of those people that I learned a lot from in terms of gamesmanship and competitiveness. In other words, you know, Freddie would play for money, and would win consistently. You know, he was a winner, and he knew how to play under pressure, and he provided those retired old guys that sat under that tree with hours and hours and hours of entertainment. And very sad that this year he had to call it quits. The second person who we lost this year was Dr. Maury Fox. A lot of you, you know, remember him. He was, you know, not the charismatic type like Freddie or Murray, but one of the most generous individuals that you'd ever want to meet. You know, just treated a lot of handball players for free. You know, maybe they didn't have insurance or they couldn't afford it, just did, so much good work. Provided us with a place to have a USHA Hall of Fame ceremony, which was his hospital back in 1973. And Lou, myself, and Bobby and Kenny, a lot of the other proteges, so to speak, of Bob Davidson, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame. We all, had a wonderful night seeing Bob go in, which was, about a year or so before he passed away. And of course, the third person, our beloved Murray Marks, who did so much for handball here in South Florida, was given the name, the godfather of handball here in South Florida. And I mentioned this, many times, that the first time I beat Murray was the first time I realized that I was a good handball player, because, Murray was the champion of Flamingo Park for many years. Another, great player who taught me a lot about desire and competitiveness. And, what frustrated Murray more than anything, later years in his life, is that he couldn't play anymore because he had, a number of surgeries, and it was just so frustrating for him that he didn't even want to go down to the park or be around handball because it just hurt him so much. But, while he was here, he did so much by promoting handball. There was a time where he would go to the University of Miami, try to start a handball team there, try to, get some of the kids. He served on the USHA Board of Directors, for a number of years. He was, a very outspoken person for change. And, in terms of standing up here and being a master of ceremonies, there was none better. Because, Murray just had that great sense of humor. He knew how to make everybody laugh. And he was just, a real special guy. So I know, Murray, you're up there. You're looking down on us tonight. And we miss you. We love you. And you left your mark on South Florida. And I just want you to know that you'll never be forgotten. Thank you. I got to say is that this guy here has done a tremendous job year in and year out. Everybody gives him a lot of crap, and most of it is deserved. But, Lenny, you really stepped up to the plate, okay? And you're doing a great thing, and I just hope you continue.
I'm glad everybody enjoyed that tonight. I think, like I said, the Vic Hershowitz tournament has a lot of great years ahead of us, and we're in the right direction. So thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you tomorrow.
What time we play?
Lenny, good job.